Living. How's it going? It's like official up here too. Oh my god. I kind of like being on the same level.
You talk down to us now.
I don't like that.
How much fun is this time of year for you? Because obviously your job, you have to have a pulse on the entire roster. You got 90 guys now, and just the job that they've done to the roster, it looks like there's some competition in some places, which means the roster's better. So just your exciting level of what that means for special teams.
Yeah, I would say I'm glad you asked the question because this is one of my favorite times of the year. I would say that mostly for me because you get a chance to work on work with individuals kind of on their individual game, and it's not as much big picture and getting ready for the next opponent, and it's really an opportunity to develop players. And in the season, you don't have as much time to do that. It's more big picture stuff. So this time of year is great. You obviously don't have the pressure of the games and all that stuff stacked up on you, which is good and bad. Anyway, so yeah, I love it. And then to the roster, we do have a lot of competition, which is really exciting. There's a lot of those lines are deep and long, and you look at the list and you're just not sure, So for us on special teams, this time of year is also just collecting a lot of information. I know like last year we talked a lot about the returner situation, who was it going to be, and it's really the same thing this year. We're just trying to figure out who can catch the ball, who can't, who could potentially be an option, what are things guys do well individually, and what are strengths, weaknesses of players, so that once you get in the season and you're making decisions on who's going to block who and how are you going to get the job done, you can kind of try to put the guys in the best place you can. So it's good.
Early impressions on Pimpleton as a returner?
Yeah, he's a guy that we're looking at back there. He's done a nice job. He's obviously explosive with the ball in his hands and put some good stuff on tape, which is why he's here, I'm sure. So we're excited about him. There's a bunch of guys that are kind of like that.
How do you go about replacing core players like Reeves Maven and Miles Killebrew the year before when he was going before you guys?
Yeah, I would say, you never replace any of those guys. Jalen was a great player for us, but new guys step up and end up playing, and it gives opportunity to new guys. Every time that's ever happened to me where we've lost a great player, I feel like we've had a guy step up and come from out of nowhere a little bit and just take advantage of the opportunity and play great. I think for me, that's kind of one of my favorite parts of the job. The back end of the roster changes over quite a bit, right? And so you got a chance to find out, who can we get to do those things and play that well and make those plays for us. And that's the challenge, I think, for a coach, or that's what you like about it is you got a challenge to see what you can get out of somebody, and can you get somebody to play better than somebody else did or has ever played in the past, or get more out of them than people thought you could, And I think that's kind of the measure for a coach in this league is trying to maximize your talent.
Sticking with the theme, you would lean a lot on young players, right? Look, rookies are going to come in here, and that's their path often is special teams. So what's maybe some of the key coaching points to get a rookie acclimated quickly to your expectations?
Yeah, I would say, there's probably a lot to that. There's some guys who played a lot of special teams. There's a lot of guys who played none, But I think the biggest thing is it really helps, and we've done a great job here just in the draft and the free agency process of bringing in smart players, which makes my job a lot easier. So if they can kind of understand the big picture, that helps a lot. And you don't have to spend a lot of time on that. Now you can spend more time just individually on little techniques and fundamentals and ways to win a matchup. It's a big guy against a little guy. How am I going to win that? And then, okay, here are the tools and that you're going to use against him. Now it's little on little, and we're going to change that. And here are the ways that you can be more successful in that area. So, anyways, I don't know. Those are the things we're working on, the challenges. And
why do you have 3 kickers on your roster?
Yeah, 3 kickers. Well, we got 3 kickers because we think we got 3 really good players, I would say, is number one. We were happy with Seibert, and then obviously got hurt, and then that would also be part of why we got 3 kickers. We had one guy who's got hurt, and he had a surgery after that. He's coming off that, and you just never know how's he going to be, and you don't want to necessarily get stuck with one. So then you carry an extra one, and then, but I would also say that a big part of it is like Rosas. He went to the Pro Bowl. The guy's a good player. So we think he's a good player. Riley came in and did a good job for us. So anyway, we feel like we got 3 really good players, and I think that's probably the biggest reason. But obviously, the injury has something to do with that too.
I don't know, how up in the air do you sort of see that position as being, right? Riley did have a lot of success down the stretch there, and Austin, I guess, really. So
yeah, I would say for me, every job's up in the air, and I mean that, now sometimes there's reasons that one guy might make it over another, and I'm not necessarily talking about the kicker position, but, draft status, something like that might influence it at some point. But I would say in general for us, the best guy's going to win the job. It's pretty easy. It's really not me deciding. Those guys separate themselves and end up kind of making the decision for us.
Going back to the young players, knowing that the role is likely on the special teams, we talked to the draft picks, and a lot of those day 3 guys immediately mentioned the special teams. So I'm just kind of wondering.
They were coached up well.
Yeah, well, is that something that's been happening? Like more young players know that that's their role, or maybe does that?
I'd say their agents do a great job. They all come and see me. You're the guy I want to meet. Da, 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 da. But then it slowly fades away, as you start getting into it and you find out who really likes it, And I say that half joking, but 3/4 serious also. So. I would say that I feel like these guys have been prepped more on that, and that it's a big deal, and I think their agents have made them more aware of that than ever before. So there's more light shed on that, on special teams and how important it is. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're going to find out who plays well and who doesn't, and we're going to keep the guys who play the best. So.
Do you have any first impressions of this draft class and how much they may truly mean that?
Yeah, I would say I'm really excited about it. I would say, to be honest with you, I was looking at the roster this morning with Coach Campbell. We obviously talk about that often. But just looking at the total roster and the overall competitiveness, it's going to be this time of year is more skill development, but as soon as we get into training camp, it's really, from our side of it, it's competition. And so we're going to have some good competition.
Obviously, early, maybe these discussions aren't even in their infancy yet, but I'm curious with a guy like Jameson Williams. He's shown in college what kind of electric return man he can be.
He's our starting gunner.
Sometimes we see guys that are high draft picks that have a big role in offense or defense. There's a reluctancy to use them on special teams. And so do you start formulating a plan to advocate to have a role for him, or how do those conversations go?
Yeah, no, I think so. A lot of it is just kind of seeing what the guy's role is on offense or defense first, and then how much can you get out of them. I would say the one thing I would say for him, just individually, what he put on film on special teams, to me, speaks volumes. We all know he's a great wideout, but when you're covering kicks the way he does and playing those special teams plays the way he does, it tells me the guy loves football, and he's not in it for catching the ball and the statistics and all that stuff. He's got a love for the game, and he plays those plays that way. And I would also say that I credit, the University of Alabama, Nick Saban. Those guys, he makes those guys play on special teams, and those guys come in to the National Football League more prepared because of it. I think, truth be told, the SEC conference is better than most conferences, and it's like, yeah, well, go figure why these guys are so good. But the competition's also tighter in that conference, and they're all trying to win, and they're trying to win a championship, and so they're doing whatever it takes, and they're playing their best players. But yeah, he's definitely special. I know he was one of my favorite guys in the draft because of what he did on teams. So I'm glad to have him.
Stallings were saying before about how Jameson got thrown out of the one game, right, for targeting as a gunner, maybe. I don't know if that was
his film was great, and I was pumped. I didn't think it was going to happen, and they had asked me about him months before, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then we end up with him. I'm like, geez, all right, let's talk.
no chance of playing gunner.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
All good? Thanks, Coach.
All right, appreciate it. Good seeing you guys again.